Welcome to r/Bestof, where we share some of the most shocking and eye-opening Reddit stories out there. Today's story comes from a Reddit user who made a terrifying discovery at work, finding out that her boss had been secretly filming her in the bathroom. It's a disturbing tale that no one expects to experience, especially in what should be a safe environment. Our storyteller works at a small local business, just like many of us. On the surface, it was a typical day, filled with usual tasks, familiar faces, and routine conversations. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary, and the last thing she expected was the horrifying secret lurking just beneath the surface. As the day went on, a strange feeling began to creep in, something unsettling that didn't quite add up. Little did she know, this feeling was a warning sign. What started as a normal day quickly turned into a nightmare when she uncovered something that would change her life forever. This is a story about trust, betrayal, and the courage to confront the unthinkable. The workplace was a modest office located in a busy part of town, where OP had worked for nearly 3 years. It was a close-knit environment with about 20 employees, mostly friendly faces she had come to know well. Her role was mostly administrative, answering calls, handling schedules, and helping customers with their questions. It was a steady job that allowed her to support herself and stay close to home. Her boss, a man in his mid-40s, seemed professional and approachable on the surface. He often joked with the staff and tried to create a friendly atmosphere. Most coworkers got along well, sharing lunch breaks and chatting about weekend plans. OP herself had never thought twice about her boss or coworkers. Everything seemed normal. However, in the weeks leading up to the discovery, OP started noticing small things that felt off. There were moments when her boss's eyes lingered a little too long, or he seemed overly interested in her schedule. She brushed it off, thinking maybe she was overthinking. Sometimes she would find odd objects in the bathroom or hear strange noises when no one else was around. A faint unease settled in her mind, but she told herself it was just paranoia. Still, those little moments nagged at her. Deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. That maybe, just maybe, something was being hidden from her. She didn't know then how serious it would turn out to be. It all started on a quiet afternoon during a routine bathroom break. OP had noticed the bathroom door was slightly ajar, which was unusual since employees typically made sure it was locked for privacy. Curious, she stepped inside and immediately felt a chill run down her spine. Something was off. While washing her hands, her eyes caught a small, almost invisible object tucked behind the hand dryer. It looked like a tiny black box with a lens, a hidden camera. Her heart pounded in disbelief. She blinked several times, convinced she was imagining things. But no, the camera was real, staring right back at her like a silent witness to every private moment inside that bathroom. Shock quickly gave way to fear and confusion. How long had this camera been here? What had it recorded? The thought that someone had been spying on her in such an intimate place made her skin crawl. She felt violated, scared, and helpless all at once. For a few moments, she just stood frozen, staring at the camera, unsure what to do. Then, with trembling hands, she carefully unplugged it and tucked it into her bag. She knew she needed help, but was terrified of what might happen if she told the wrong person. Her mind raced with questions. Who was behind this? Was it a sick prank or something worse? After taking a deep breath, she decided the first person she could trust was a close coworker. She showed them the camera and explained everything in a whisper. The coworker's face went pale, and they urged her to contact the police immediately. The fear shifted to urgency. This was bigger than she thought. She kept the camera with her, a heavy weight of dread in her bag, as she waited for the police to arrive. Every minute felt like hours, her thoughts spinning in a loop. What exactly had been recorded? Was it just her? Or were others victims too? The suspense was unbearable, and she dreaded the answers she was about to face. When OP finally called the police, she was met with calm professionalism. The officers listened carefully, promising to handle the situation with sensitivity. Within hours, a team arrived at her workplace to investigate. They were discreet but thorough, collecting the hidden camera and carefully searching the bathroom for any other devices. OP watched from a distance, anxiety building with each passing minute. The officers' serious expressions told her this was no ordinary case. After collecting the camera, they explained that initial analysis showed the device had been recording for months. More shockingly, they told her this wasn't just about her. They had discovered multiple videos involving other employees, many of whom had no idea they were being filmed. The police revealed that the investigation was expanding, suggesting a far larger problem than OP had imagined. The thought of other victims filled her with dread, but also a strange sense of relief. She wasn't alone. The police assured her they would do everything they could to find the person responsible and protect everyone affected. As the investigation unfolded, OP found herself caught between fear and hope. What had started as a simple discovery was now a full-scale criminal investigation. The suspense thickened with every new detail the officers revealed. Who had done this? How many people were involved? And most importantly, would justice be served? After the police left, a heavy cloud of fear and confusion settled over OP's mind. The sense of violation wasn't just physical. It burrowed deep into her trust and sense of safety. The place she'd once felt comfortable at, her workplace, now felt like a trap. Every glance at the bathroom door, every sound in the hallway, reminded her of the hidden camera and the betrayal it represented. OP struggled with overwhelming feelings of mistrust. How could someone she saw every day, her boss no less, do something so invasive? The very idea made her stomach churn. She questioned everything she thought she knew about him. Their conversations, his friendly smiles, all suddenly seemed suspicious. Returning to work felt impossible. The thought of walking into that store, knowing the camera had been recording, filled her with dread. And what if the boss was still there, watching or waiting? The fear of running into him made her want to avoid everyone and everything. Inside, a battle raged between the urge to speak up and the instinct to stay silent. Telling others might bring justice, but it also meant exposing herself to shame, judgment, or even disbelief. Could she handle that? Could she face her coworkers knowing what had happened? These questions haunted her, adding layers of anxiety and uncertainty. The emotional toll was heavy: sleepless nights, constant worry, and moments of despair. OP felt trapped in a nightmare she hadn't asked for. Yet, despite the fear, a quiet determination grew inside her. She knew she couldn't let this go unnoticed. The suspense of what would happen next, whether the truth would come out, and if she'd find safety again, kept her on edge every day. As the investigation deepened, the police uncovered more than OP had imagined. It wasn't just a single hidden camera or one victim. There were dozens of videos featuring multiple employees, some dating back years. The scale of the violation shocked everyone involved. OP was asked to help identify some of the people in the videos, which was both painful and surreal. The footage showed women in vulnerable moments, entering the bathroom, changing clothes, unaware of the hidden lens. Though graphic details were avoided, the implication was clear. These were private moments stolen without consent. The realization that she wasn't alone was both heartbreaking and oddly comforting. It became clear that the boss had been carefully manipulating trust. He positioned himself as a friendly, approachable figure, someone employees could rely on. This trust allowed him access to private areas and moments without raising suspicion. The boss's actions were calculated and cruel. He exploited his power and position, knowing the employees wouldn't expect such betrayal. The videos were more than just invasions of privacy. They were tools of control, fear, and violation. With each new victim coming forward, the weight of the crime grew heavier. OP saw the ripple effects, fear spreading among coworkers, families shaken, and a workplace forever changed. The police gathered mounting evidence, building a case that would hopefully bring justice. The suspense built not only from the growing list of victims, but from the looming question: how far did this go? Who else was affected? And would the boss ever admit to what he had done? Every day brought new revelations, tightening the grip of the investigation. For OP and the others, the nightmare was far from over, but there was a flicker of hope. That exposure would end the abuse and bring peace. The day the boss was arrested felt surreal for OP. Police officers arrived at the store quietly but firmly, handcuffing the man she had once worked closely with. Charges were filed, multiple counts of illegal surveillance, invasion of privacy, and more. The weight of the situation finally became real. The police reassured OP that her safety was their priority. They explained her rights clearly, promising protection and support throughout the legal process. They told her she wasn't alone and that what happened was not her fault. Their words brought a measure of comfort amid the chaos. Yet, beneath that comfort lay the suspense of what was to come. Would the court fully expose the truth? Were there still more victims or videos waiting to surface? OP's mind raced with questions. The investigation was ongoing, and new evidence was still being uncovered. Court proceedings loomed ahead, and OP knew she might have to face the boss in a courtroom. The thought was daunting, but justice had to be sought. The police continued to gather testimonies, building a strong case. Meanwhile, OP struggled with the uncertainty of how long the process would take. Each day brought new updates, some hopeful, others terrifying. But she held on to the hope that the legal system would hold the boss accountable and prevent him from harming anyone else. Despite the fear and tension, the arrest marked a turning point. The nightmare was no longer just in her head. It was now a public battle for truth and justice, returning to work after everything felt impossible at first. The store, once a place of routine and comfort, now held memories of betrayal and fear. OP wrestled with whether to stay or quit, weighing her options carefully. Friends and family became her pillars of support, offering kind words, listening patiently, and reminding her she wasn't alone. Some coworkers reached out quietly, sharing their own fears and stories. These connections helped OP feel less isolated. Slowly, she began to rebuild her sense of safety and trust. Small steps, like walking into the bathroom without panic, or even smiling at familiar faces, became victories. Therapy and counseling gave her tools to cope with anxiety and mistrust. Though the suspense and fear that once gripped her began to fade, caution remained. OP knew healing would take time, and she wouldn't rush the process. Each day was a chance to reclaim her life, piece by piece. Looking ahead, OP felt a cautious hope. She understood the power of speaking up and how her courage might protect others. Moving forward wasn't about forgetting what happened, but learning to live beyond it. Her story, once filled with fear and betrayal, was now one of strength and survival. OP hoped that sharing her experience could inspire others to stand strong against injustice and reclaim their own safety. Looking back on everything, OP realizes how important it was to trust her instincts. Small feelings of discomfort and suspicion, which she almost ignored, were actually warnings. She encourages others to listen closely to those gut feelings and not dismiss them. OP stresses how vital it is to speak out when something feels wrong. Keeping quiet only allows harmful behavior to continue. She understands that it's scary to come forward, but silence often protects the wrong people. Speaking up can start the path to justice and healing. She also wants victims of similar violations to know they are not alone. Help is available, whether through trusted friends, family, or professional support. It's okay to ask for help, and it's important for healing. OP hopes her story can raise awareness about how common and damaging these invasions of privacy are. She urges everyone to stay alert to suspicious behavior, whether at work or elsewhere. Protecting personal boundaries is critical in today's world. Her biggest takeaway is this: your safety and dignity matter. Don't hesitate to protect them. Trust yourself, seek support, and never feel ashamed to stand against wrongdoing. Thank you for listening to OP's story and joining this conversation. Sharing these difficult experiences helps us all understand the importance of privacy and respect. If you or someone you know has faced similar violations, don't hesitate to speak up or reach out for help. Your voice matters, and together we can create safer spaces. Feel free to share your thoughts or stories below. Support and community make a difference. Remember, privacy violations are serious crimes that affect real people and must be addressed with urgency and care. Let's stay vigilant and protect one another. Empower yourself by knowing your rights and trusting your instincts. This story ends with hope. That awareness leads to action, and action leads to justice. Stay strong, stay safe, and thank you for being part of this important conversation.